I got your Party of Two right here. Welcome, everybody, to the Party of Two podcast. I am one of your hosts, the Internet's Andrea Donica.
And I'm another one of your hosts, the Internet's Mark B. Donica. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Today we are talking about Lunar New Year and the festivities.
I'm sure this is an episode that everybody's been waiting for. Who does Lunar New Year best? We've been doing it for all of the other big holidays, and now that it's taken over two of the world's parks, it's time to go in and see who does it best.
Woo! So Lunar New Year, for those of you that don't know, is a celebration that doesn't happen on January 1st. It is celebrated by multiple Asian countries. China is usually what becomes front and center for the celebrations, and it starts around February. The date always changes a little bit. This year, it is actually happening today as we're recording on Tuesday, February 5th. And it is officially the year of the pig in the Chinese zodiac. Very, very exciting.
Well, kind of. There's a couple of things, because there are 5 different types of pigs that are represented in the I've been reading up on it a little bit. There are 5 different types of pigs. There are water pigs, wood pigs, fire pigs, earth pigs, and metal pigs.
My mind is exploding right now. Can you?
But so
is a water pig like one of those cute pigs that you see in the Bahamas
it's
like swimming with
representative of the elements.
Okay.
And so every year, like even if it's the year of the pig, it may not be the year you may be born on a wood pig year, but it might be a water pig year. So at least for our generational things, 83 and 84 are water pigs. Or sorry, pigs born between February 13th, 1983 and February 1st, 1984 are water pigs, and pigs born between January 31st, 1995 and February 18th, 1996 are wood pigs. And I've been trying to find which particular pig it is this year. Supposedly it's a bad pig cycle this year.
Oh. what do bad pigs do?
So there might be a windfall of support from friends, families, and colleagues, but there is also potential for a downside. Money may flow out just as easily as it flows in, or the only things that expand are the pig's waistline or ego. In some areas, there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. Yes.
So don't be too full of yourself this year.
No, especially if you are an earth pig.
Huh.
Which these pigs are the most stable and hardworking of the pigs and are the most likely to achieve goals. Just for the sake of closure, I'll go through the other ones as well.
Yeah, please.
Fire pigs are the most energetic. They pull together the party, get the work projects in on time, and look for adventure when they travel. This is all from businessinsider.au.
Wow.
Is where I'm reading this. Wood pigs are likely on track to have a good job and to be well expected. They're successful, career-oriented. Water pigs are sensitive, social, most likely to be famous. They stay connected with many people in their lives who are important to them.
They're Instagram pigs.
They're Insta pigs. And then, of course, the metal pig. It's usually a sign that you're good with money or keep track of spending. So despite it being a year of the pig, there's more than one type of pig, and currently it's a year of the earth pig.
Huh.
And
okay.
that's not anything we learned at the parks. That's something that's a Party of Two or a Business Insider Australia exclusive.
Woo!
Woot. I mean, we have to fill the show because there's only 2 parks that are doing anything for it.
It's not something that every theme park necessarily goes into. Obviously, this isn't necessarily a westernized type of celebration.
I mean, it kind of is.
It is and it isn't. It's kind of developing, I would say, but I don't think it's fully hit mainstream yet.
No, but it's still definitely a Western culture's interpretation or use of Western symbols to not
Capitalized.
Capitalized. That's a much better word than what I was going to be using, because the two major brands and the two major windows into this culture for Disney California Adventure are Mulan and Mushu and Cricky and all of that, and then for Universal, it's Kung Fu Panda, to be expected, but also they have the minions have traditional Chinese garb. Hello Kitty has traditional Chinese garb. They have a Mandarin speaking Megatron, which probably due to the weather they didn't have out while we were there. But I'd say Universal does a little bit more, but it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
I feel like they're approaching it from two different mindsets. I feel like Universal is approaching it more from the everyman sort of aspect, and then Disney is trying to go a little more flourish, a little more I don't want to say high end per se, but for example, they've stepped it up a little bit with their. Now it seems that they keep on doing these little international marketplace type pop-ups in California Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Before it was just for the Food and Wine Festival, then it became Festival of Holidays, and now they're doing a Lunar New Year festival type thing as well, with different food and drink items. And I'm glad that they're doing it now. They really weren't doing it in years past. This is the first time, at least for me, really noticing it, and it's still not as vast as it is for Festival of Holidays or Food and Wine. It's still a little more small scale, but they're trying to do it maybe a little more elegantly, I suppose.
They do all of their cultural stuff in the back corner of Paradise Pier.
Yeah.
Like that's where the Coco's Festival of Family was, and that's where they put all of the Mexican stuff for Christmas every year. So it's not super surprising that that's the area of the park that they use. It's also really close to backstage, so they can get performers in and out really quick. It's not necessarily a parade, but more of a procession. Because and actually, this is before that I looked and saw what the name of what Disney is actually calling the Mulan's Lunar New Year procession, which is watch Mulan's eye-catching cavalcade with Mushu, Goofy, various performers, and for this year specifically, the Three Little Pigs.
Dressed in traditional garb, celebrational garb, as it were. And it's a cute little show to see. It's short. It's very colorful. There's just live street performers, really beautiful light parade artistry that you get to see. But it doesn't feel per se as interactive. And on the flip side, I feel that Universal is actually trying to engage the guests more a little bit, because they actually get the kids up on stage to do a few kung fu moves, learn with Po. They also do some sketching tutorials for different characters at different hours of the day.
You can draw one of the 6 dragon warriors. There's also, they have the wishing trees where you put a little wish for the new year. They have an interactive character. They have Mr. Ping, Poe's dad, if you're not familiar with his name, but he has his food cart, and you can meet him on one side and you order from the other side. And something that I was hoping for that we didn't encounter, I wondered if Mr. Ping himself was bilingual, or could speak anything other than English, but we didn't. That's not advertised, so it's, they're trying to sound like James Hong from the movies, but it's a fun figure. It's easy to animate because it's a bill. It just goes bap 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 bap. It doesn't have to be super articulate, but it was a fun experience. Now I'm not like a huge lover of the Kung Fu Panda franchise. I really do enjoy it. I liked the first movie. I liked the second movie, and the third movie was fine. Saw it on an airplane, but there was something to being able to have being able to go up and order the secret ingredient stir fry noodles that Mr. Ping offers in the movie, and then to be presented with a plastic bowl that's only kind of like half full and the meat was only kind of warm. But to be there and to like have stuff that's it kind of puts you in the movie a little bit, I thought was a nice gesture.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
We only found out on our way out of the park that there were 2 eating locations that were having Lunar New Year stuff. We went all in on Mr. Ping's, and we had everything that they offered. They had pork bao, they had steamed dumplings, they had the egg roll, and then a choice of chicken, beef, or vegetable stir-fry noodle with, of course, the secret ingredient. I'm not going to ruin what the secret ingredient is because you should see the dang movie. But we tried all of them and really enjoyed most of them.
Yeah, no, it was delicious. I would say, and I mean, granted, I haven't had a lot of egg rolls in my life from different places. I will always partake if I am offered. I always find them to be delicious. I took that first bite and I'm like, oh shoot, this might be the best egg roll I've ever had.
It's not super crunchy.
Yeah, it wasn't hard on the teeth. The sauces for everything was really, really good. Not per se overly complex, but just a little zest to spice things up. They had a spicy soy sauce, of course the sweet and sour sauce to dip the egg roll in, the pork bows, perfectly fluffy, really excellent. Steamed dumplings, I love dumplings. I love pot stickers. I could eat them all day, every day.
But they were really good.
They were really good. And I will say for the stir-fry noodles, I wish there was more noodles. I think there was a perfect amount of vegetable in there, which was really, really good. The meat was a little on the cold side, so that was a little disappointing. And, it's always nice to have your food hot. But the other thing, too, and we took that into consideration right away, is where the pop-up shop is. It's not connected directly to a kitchen. So everything had to be kind of transported over there.
It is connected to a kitchen.
It is?
But it's not connected to anything with a drink fountain.
Right.
There's the hot dog stand that's connected to sort of as you walk toward the thing. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's interesting placement. It all smells brand new, but it looked like the interior of Mr. Ping's shop.
Yeah, the theming was actually done for this little pop-up cart, and I was absolutely delighted. They had, these little different ladles on the wall, vegetables hanging.
All of the dirty bowls near the bottom.
It was really charming.
Quote-unquote dirty bowls.
Yeah, it was nice. It was a really nice touch. Not something that I expected at all, and I thought that was really great to see. And I also, jumping back a little bit, seeing the short stage show with Po teaching the kids how to do some kung fu was really cute.
Yeah, it was pretty adorable.
Yeah.
They had another sort of lackadaisical speaking character because Po didn't talk, but just somebody that shared in his mindset of how he trains as the chosen one, as the dragon warrior. But the theming was really fun. The bao and all of the food that you had in the plaza was pretty dang good.
Yeah.
Pretty dang good. And while the stir fry noodles at the jump weren't great, having everything together, putting a little bit of the spicy soy sauce on it, really made it come together. But there's got to be more. Especially that one was like $10, $10.50.
Yeah.
So for what you got, for what you paid, not that great. But we saw on the way out at the hot dog stand, formerly Pink's, they were offering a teriyaki turkey leg, a vegetarian banh mi, Asian sausage on a stick, and then they also had ginger cheesecake with like a fortune cookie crust. There was another one that they had there. I took the picture. But there's also a stand nearby that had peanut butter and jelly dumplings. Something that we tried. We tried a matcha green tea churro, which unfortunately we had really, really, really good ones at a local Japanese place. And so these ones just they were not up to snuff.
It was very obvious it started as a regular churro and then they just rubbed it in maybe slightly green tea sugar. And I didn't get a whole lot of the matcha from it. It primarily tasted like a churro to me, just like a twinge different. And for me, if I'm going to get something that's matcha, I got to go full on matcha. It's got to be pretty intensely green. But, that's okay. I didn't necessarily expect it to be on Japanese restaurant level, but I would love to see that in the future. The thing with Universal especially, and I'm sure Disney is trying to tap more into the market, a lot of Chinese tourists, because they have the vacation right now for the Lunar New Year, they're vacationing. This is a prime time that they come to visit Universal Studios. And they also trust and love the Universal brand. Universal can 100% tap in more to this market, I would say. I think they can go even more full out. I don't think that they need to hide behind the standard theme park food fare. I think that they have an opportunity to go more out with this, and I think that the Southern California crowd as well would embrace it. And I think it's something that they could have as a regular thing and improve even more upon.
And I wonder if Dong Po at City Walk, let's go take a walk.
Yeah.
Down at Dong Po, it's a pretty phenomenal set of Chinese fare that they have there. And anytime we go in, we have a wonderful experience.
Oh, it's so good.
Sometimes when it's really crowded, it can be a little but for what you get for what you get for what you pay for, Dong Po is a wonderful place if you want more of that Chinese fare. And we tend to see a lot of tourists heading in there, but I wonder how much they're using data from that to sort of apply it to any of the things that they're doing in the park. Because it seemed pretty crowded today, like at least especially in that area. It was like the rides were walk-on the whole time, and it was very cold, to be fair.
It was so cold, and it was raining this morning, which we figured with the cold and the rain combined, LA people, we're not so great with rain in the first place, so we stay home if we can.
Yeah, and we waited for we knew we were going today, but we waited for the rain to go and then headed out, and we're like, well, as long as we can see some of the Lunar New Year stuff, then great, cool. Because since it's so close and we have free parking and all of that, it's so easy just to go walk around a bit and leave, which we have done previously. So with that, it was a very pleasant surprise to be able to not only eat right away, get on the tram, well, not right away, but get on the tram relatively easily, walk right on all of the Harry Potter rides. The walkways were fairly clear. The one issue that I had, and I don't blame the gentleman for it, but when we were ordering our stuff at Mr. Ping's, the gentleman operating the cash register, when confirming all of our stuff, referred to, as Universal titles it, Dragon Warrior bows, the Dragon Warrior Bayos, as in Scott Baio, or Bay, B-A-E-O, Baio. Very unfortunate for some. It's essentially a gatekeeper for that cultural thing, and just like, oh, come on, man.
Well, I don't want to call you out on the internet, honey, but you said bon mai earlier.
Is it bon mi?
As far as I know, it's a bon mi, but I could be wrong.
Rolling the dice on it.
Yeah.
Anyway, everything's unfortunate when it comes to me.
Oh, honey.
But it's when it comes to everything that Universal offered, everything is pretty dang good.
Yeah.
Oh, and we didn't even so. Also, unfortunately, it has been raining and it has been very cold. They have a lot of cold items
Yes.
that we wanted to try.
I wanted, if I could have just had one opportunity in one of these places for a hot green tea, anything in a variety of that would have been nice.
They were ready for a traditional Southern California day, which is a little bit warmer. Even right now, it's bizarrely cold. It's below the 50s. And so here, at Mr. Ping's, they're offering iced green and black tea. But at the stand where we got the churro, they had red bean cake ice cream. They had a melon popsicle. It wasn't necessarily a popsicle, but it was like a creamy melon frozen treat. Then they also had a green tea lychee icy,
which I really want to try,
and a passion fruit orange icy. But we saw those on the menu way before.
Well, not the melon and etc. Oh, and they're also doing special beers right now as well. But the two ices, those were on the menu. Oh, the ices and the matcha churros. They were there a little bit ahead of the Lunar New Year celebrations. So I'm wondering if those are going to be kept around.
I also wonder if because of the cold weather, the colder stuff is going to stick around until they're out of it.
Yeah,
for when it warms up.
Oh man.
But I think Universal, fantastic.
Oh yeah.
And while some of the pricing isn't great, the food matches, and we went back, except for the bowl, we went back for round 2 on everything else.
Yes.
It was really good. Now, when it comes to Disney, well, I suppose Universal also, they put all of their special events now in the plaza, in the Universal Plaza.
Which makes sense, and I think that it's great that they can do that, and it makes it easier for their changeovers as well, because they are able to section it off pretty easily, and then it becomes a focal point when you do visit, and none of your visitors are going to miss out on it either. I think that a detraction for California Adventure is by having all of the holiday celebrations in that corner of the park can sometimes be a detriment, and maybe some people miss out on it as a result.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's hard when California Adventure seems to have a special food festival thing almost the entire year, where it's almost like just keep the stands there, or I would be more open to them building having a festival area.
Yeah.
Where that's where you go for festival stuff. And that way you can still make it a little plaza, a little this, a little that, where you're still going from stand to stand, but it's less of we're blocking the view of the lagoon, or we're this or we're that. Because right after the Lunar New Year's celebration, well, I say right after, but about less than a month from when the Lunar New Year ends February 17th. When do you think food and wine starts?
I'm leaning towards April.
March 1st.
Really?
So 2 weeks. So they're going to take the carts away for 2 weeks, and then they're going to bring them back with different signs on them.
Huh.
And it's going to last till April 23rd. So it's about 2 months. So it's becoming a common thing. If you come for Christmas, they've got the Festival of Holidays. If you come for New Year, they've got the Lunar New Year. If you come for the spring, you've got the Food and Wine Festival. And I'm sure they'll figure something out for summertime, maybe.
Oh, sure.
Actually, no. It would be bad if they had something for summer, because they need more room for people to walk, because it's going to be very crowded this year. Something's telling me that it's going to be really crowded this year.
Well, I'm sure that they're also going to come up with something to try to more evenly spread out the crowds. Of course, that's also why Pixar Pier was developed in the first place.
Yeah. So let's go over some of the Disney stuff.
Yeah,
And
let's do it.
We'll make the decision. Who does Lunar New Year better? Who does Chinese New Year better?
Yeah.
So there are traditionally, for any sort of special event that they have at the Paradise Gardens, they have just a whole selection of the history of the event or the holiday and what things mean and this and that. They have they have Chinese music from the bandstand. It's the band this year is Melody of China, which has classical, folk, and modern music, and some dancing as well. You can meet Mickey, Minnie, and Mulan and Mushu and other characters dressed in traditional, vibrant holiday attire. And then they have the marketplace that features Chinese, Korean, and Vietnamese dishes throughout the area. And they also have Food at Paradise Garden Grill and special merchandise. And they also have an art and wishing area similarly to what Universal has as well. And it's all packed tightly away from just at like Little Mermaid all the way through to Paradise Gardens, and that's a pretty small footprint.
That's a small footprint. I mean, compared to Universal, I would say that they're kind of sharing a slightly tightened space for room. It's not necessarily the worst thing. It wouldn't hurt to expand it, though. You know, as excited as I am that California Adventure is getting another ride and that it's going to be in reference to Inside Out, that former Maliboomer area would have been a prime spot for stuff like this.
I've got another good bad idea.
Yeah.
I know that Goofy's was just redone, and that we love the Paradise Garden area. But if you expand, you take the ride and you turn that into the festival area that we were referring to, it's still kind of in the back, but it's under shade. It's close to the hotel. Maybe you add another entrance to it so that if you're staying at the hotel, you can get a special entrance in and out right to where all of the festivities are happening. But no offense to that ride. I know a lot of people like it and it's very popular.
It hurts.
But that's expanding out that way, and that could also lead to some actually no, because there's the ride in the way. But you put something in there and make that the festival area, and then you still have it sort of bleed out a little bit into the walkway to invite people in, but the meat and potatoes of the area is in that back corner. Yeah.
They
don't have Epcot room.
No, they don't. It's really too bad.
All right, so let's go through some of these stands here.
Please.
At the Red Dragon Spice Traders, you can tickle your taste buds with firecracker 3-cup chicken and steamed rice, a steamed short rib shumai with spicy Korean sauce, sriracha mayo, and cucumber salad, purple yam macaron with creme fraiche, and a raspberry lychee chia tea. At the Longevity Noodle Company, you can get pan-fried wheat noodles with chicken meatballs, cabbage salad with chicken meatballs, and cabbage salad with apple ginger sauce. This is an interesting way that they put that. A vegetable egg roll and chilled sesame garlic noodles with cilantro cashew sauce and toasted peanuts. They have an egg tart and an orchid spritz. No further information other than that. At Prosperity Bao and Buns, you can get a chashu pork bao, Chinese barbecue pork with pickled red onions and jalapeno. Mickey Chinese hot dog bun. That's interesting. Mango pineapple pastry, a winter plum blossom gin mule.
Ooh.
And then at the Lucky 8 Lantern, you can get a crispy shrimp fried rice with garlic bacon and edamame, stir-fried vegetables and pineapple with soy protein. That's okay, that's a thing. Steamed rice and crunchy chow mein, and then a mandarin orange green tea tart. That's the one that's got the ears. That's on a lot of the advertising.
Oh, yeah.
And they have a Vietnamese iced coffee. And that's everything. Those are the 4 stands. That's what you can pick out. Unfortunately, we haven't had an opportunity to go there yet. But even looking at this, it's hard to not just sort of lump everything in with we know how they serve this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We know that it's not filling. It's not a meal. It's bites.
Yeah, literally it's like going to have hors d'oeuvres somewhere and you're spending a good $8 to $10 per thing,
On a
whatever
single
it
hors
is.
d'oeuvre. A single
Yeah.
serving of an hors d'oeuvre, which is even worse. And that's not to say that the stuff isn't good, because it's usually
No, it's really good. And that's the thing. Like, they always do such an artisanal crafting with these flavors, and I'm always really impressed with what they do. I'm just really sad that we never have the opportunity to actually get filled in some way. Even if you got one of the passes to scoop everything up, you still wouldn't be full. There's no way. It's just everything's too small and the lines are always too long. What was nice about today was we were able to go for round 2. We were able to say, yeah, I can afford to order everything on the menu and try everything. That's always something that's kind of nice. Most people can't afford to do that. So then the other real issue with these little events that California Adventure has for these festivals is you have to kind of really select what you get, and still you're going to ultimately need to get a corn dog or something later because it's just not enough.
Well, I will say they do have the Sip and Savor Pass for this event as well, but it also brings into account the Paradise Garden Grill and the beer stand, because they have non-alcoholic specials and usually a snack special at the beer cart, but they do have an Asian-inspired menu for the Paradise Garden Grill, which I will read to you now. They have a deep-fried tilapia, a whole deep-fried tilapia,
Whoa.
a vegan orange tempeh, take 2, Korean grilled chicken, and banh mi. There, I said it both ways, so I can't be wrong.
Okay.
A savory... Oh, they explain what a banh mi is. A savory Vietnamese sandwich filled with meats and vegetables.
Banh mi's are really good.
They are. And then for desserts, they've got a mango mousse.
Mango.
Almond milk iced tea.
Ooh.
With or without boba popping pearls. And actually, same thing as Universal. Both places are featuring Tsingtao as their beer of choice, which is a popular Chinese beer. And so, yeah, and the Sip and Savor Pass is $40.
Oh.
No, but that gets you food and beverage at 6 places. Mm-hmm. So that gives you one thing and one non-alcoholic beverage at each cart for $40. And knowing that those things it's on average like $6-7 a pop, and that's 2 things. So that's $14 worth of stuff at 6 places. That's $84.
Okay, I mean, yeah.
And we paid $45, $50 for 2 rounds.
Yeah.
So
I guess it does kind of equal itself out.
And now it's different for Food and Wine and for Festival of the Holidays, because in this you actually get an actual food place with Paradise Garden Grill. So I think this is the best deal to get the Sip and Savor Pass as opposed to the other events, because you could actually have a portion of something as opposed to a snack. So in this case specifically, Disney with the food can make sense, but listing off all of that stuff, I want to try more than one thing from this place, so you eventually just go twice.
Yeah.
Or 2 people get one and have the other thing.
It's always a struggle when Mark and I are trying these things, because basically we have to take one bite, and for Mark he has to take like a bitty bite.
A half of a bite.
And I have to take a overly large bite, because otherwise I'm going to miss out on my fair share.
Yeah. So, and that the entertainment we've seen before the show hasn't really changed. It just adds whatever costumed character fits with the zodiac of the year. This year it's the Three Little Pigs. Next year, very interested, is the year of the rat. Is it going to be Rizzo? Is it going to be Ratigan? Who is it going to be? Or is it going to be Remy?
I think it's going to be Remy.
Remy makes sense. I didn't think of Remy until just now.
I was surprised that you didn't lead with Remy. However, I would love it if it was like every single character that has ever been like that animal just comes out. Like they bring all of the old costumes out of the warehouse and everybody dresses up and they do something fun for that. I was a little disappointed that Waddles was not at California Adventure.
Well, Waddles never had a costume character.
Well, they could make one.
Or they could just make a statue. Similarly to Dante, that was just there. They just have all of their pig characters.
Have
around.
like a hidden Waddles in Redwood Creek Challenge Trail.
Hidden Waddles. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Waddles.
I will find him.
Let us know who you want to see represented in the rat by finding us on Twitter at PartyOf2Pod. But Andrea, now's the time. We've got to decide who of the two. I mean, it's hard to not pick Universal because it's newer and it's a formula that we're not as familiar with, or it's one that we're not as accustomed to, whereas Disney sort of has the same loadout for a bunch of things. And that's not to say that in the future Universal is going to use this same loadout, but they use this for Christmas, for Grinchmas, and Lunar New Year. And is there anything during the summer that they use it for other than seating?
No, I mean, generally during the summer they need it for the seating because it gets super crowded and people need to sit down and eat somewhere. That's primarily what it becomes, but they might make it a meet and greet area. I think how I'm going to go about this is saying what demographic you're shooting for. So if you have kids that want to be engaged and interact and have some fun, go to Universal. The food there is going to be stuff that the kids are probably going to be more comfortable eating, as will the parents. Something simple, fast, and is going to fill you a little bit more. The kids are going to learn how to draw. They're going to learn some kung fu. They're going to take pictures with Poe and Tigress. And
Megatron and the Minions and Hello Kitty.
And it just, I think that's a lot of fun. If you're a little bit more of an older crowd and you're looking for maybe a little more like high-end tasting cuisine, and you want to be surrounded by the music and the colors that are reminiscent of Lunar New Year, then I would say go to California Adventure.
If you want food, go to Universal. If you want cuisine, you go to Disney. Well, but that's a very good way of putting it. The demographic is really important. Families going to Universal, this makes a little bit more sense. And especially, we felt like, even though we came halfway during the day, we could have, if we wanted to, we could have ridden everything.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because the crowds were lighter due to the weather, and maybe starting with the rest of this week and the rest of the time that it's being offered, maybe it won't be as light. But with Disney, and especially with having both of the parks there, we go there for the festival, and that's it. If we can get a ride in here or there, we figure it out. But for something like this, where it's, well, we got to try all the food, then we got to wait to get hungry again so we could try more of the food, but we can't necessarily get on any of the rides because we're full of food. I'm sorry, cuisine. But no, but with Disney specifically.
Oh, well,
it's like,
then Ariel.
there are a couple of rides that you can wait for, but I think you can have more of a complete day at Universal.
Yeah.
And it's like you mentioned, it's not hidden. It's not like you spend half of the day, like you go over to Soarin' and then you come back through and then you go see Frozen and then you go on Guardians of the Galaxy and then you can stay in Cars Land. You can stay all day in a portion of the park that has next to no mention of Lunar New Year. It's on the map, but what if you don't grab a map?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, for once, this very Disney-leaning show gives the award to Universal Studios California, Universal Studios Hollywood. That's where you go if you want to get your sweet Chinese on. Once the park closes, you go to Dongpo at Universal City Walk.
And then you have a really nice meal.
Really nice meal, good dessert, couple of nice drinks. It's a wonderful time to celebrate Chinese culture.
Yeah.
In one way, shape, or form. And hey, go watch Kung Fu Panda because it's a good movie. I think you should just cause.
And let us know where you fall on the Chinese zodiac. And are you water, fire, wood, earth,
or metal? Which if you're a pig, which of them pigs are you?
Metal pig.
If you're not, what animal are you represented by on the zodiac? I am a dragon.
What do you know what type of a dragon you are
Well,
now?
that I only know specifically is a pig thing.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
That's all that I know.
Huh. I guess we're going to have to do some more investigating.
With my limited research, I know I've always been a dragon. What have you been?
I am a rabbit.
Yes.
A cute little bunny.
Cute little bunny, and I'm a cute little Drago. So, Ivan Drago. He's not cute, depending on who you ask. But let us know by hitting us up on Twitter at PartyOf2Pod. And I wanted to say this at the top of the show, but I missed it. If you're joining us for the first time, thanks to our time spent with Mr. Ken Knapsack on the Knapsack Files, first of all, welcome. Second of all, thank you to Ken. That was a wonderful time that we had with him.
Yes, absolutely.
And we're going to be showing up in a little bit on Force Center, so make sure to keep your ears peeled for that. If you're listening to us and don't know what the hell we're talking about, if you want to hear a fun interview with us, we sat down with our friend Ken Knapsack for his show, The Knapsack Files, which you can find by searching for The Knapsack Files. I think that's the easiest way to do it. That's going, if you're listening to this right now, it will be up soon. We'll tweet about it as well, but it was a wonderful time.
Yeah, and you can hear a little bit more about us and theme parks and how we got into this podcast in the first place.
And possibly the idea for a book that we're going to be writing.
Or a series of books.
Or a series of books that we're going to be writing. But before we go, Andrew, where can the folks find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at DoleWhipDrea, and definitely check out my IG. I've got lots of different theme park pictures. Definitely took a couple today. And I'll link a lot of the podcasts in those as well, drop a few hints, so it's always fun to keep a lookout. And then where can the fine folks find you at, Mark?
You can find me on the internet at Mark B. Donica, and that's Instagram, that's Twitter, that's a lot of places. But I also do a bunch of other podcasts. If you're a wrestling fan, I do a wrestling podcast called The Wrestling Professionals. If you like animation, I do a series of podcasts over on Rooster Team Radio, also on Anchor. We love our friends at Anchor. And but before we go, I just wanted to say that this has been Party of Two. Come for the rides, stay for the love, and we'll see you on the next ride.